Hey everyone, it's Sparrowhawk here, and I'm back again with another episode of Lily of the Valley, and I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. Questions. Welcome home! Hey there, Hazel. I shrug off my coat with a groan and place it on the stand by the kitchen door. It's getting pretty late, around 7 or 8. I don't know how I managed to pass so much time. Just walking, I guess. Walking and thinking. Meeting that girl in my old brooding spot gave me a lot to think about. I don't know why, but I keep replaying our conversation over and over in my head. She knew my mother. It almost seems like she knew my mother better than I did. It's funny how this world works. Funny and a little bit depressing. The kitchen is in a state of disarray. Hazel stands by the cooker, a frown on her face, crossly surveying a pot of cooking pasta. Maybe she's trying to prevent it from boiling over with the power of her mind? Wearing that apron, her hair tied up in that messy ponytail, she looks a little like a newly qualified primary school teacher, dazed and confused. I didn't know you could cook, Hazel. Well, I do go to uni now. I kind of have to be able to cook. That's what she says, but she doesn't sound very confident. Nah, you don't need to learn how to cook at uni, I say with a dismissive wave of one hand. Just order a pizza, or make toasties. Isn't that what you do? Hazel giggles and gives me a wink. You got me. Of course I did. I know you're just as lazy as I am deep down. Hey, I'm not that lazy. I do play netball, you know. I know. She does more than I ever did. My memories of university are hazy, diluted with alcohol. I could hardly manage to crawl out of bed earlier than 1 in the afternoon, let alone join any of the sports teams. I'm just curious, I say. Why are you cooking if you know you're not good at it? Well, I don't know if Dad's in the mood, and he's never been very good at it either. An extra sentence, unspoken, hangs in the air between us. He never had to be. Mom was the one who did all the cooking. I was stupid to forget. Look, Hazel, do you want me to help you? You would? Yeah, we're living in the 21st century. It's positively medieval, pushing all the housework onto you because you're a woman. Well, I guess that's true, but are you sure you can handle this much? It's only pasta. I'm sure I'll manage. No matter what Cassandra said, I'm not completely incompetent. Hazel laughs and gives me a salute. Okay then, you're the boss. I lie in my old room in my old bed and think. This room is exactly the same as I remember it being before I went to university. It feels like a time capsule, unaffected by the changes of the recent years, sealed in delirium and placed beneath the earth. My old model planes, painstakingly put together with my father when I was 7, are still displayed atop of my bookcase. The novels I used to read, worn and well-thumbed, are lined up on the shelves. I'm sure if I opened the wardrobe, all my old clothes would be there, hung up on their hangers. I could be a teenager again, just 18 years old, lying awake and wondering what university would have in store for me, wondering what London would be like. I'd been to London a couple of times before with my family. Once we went to see cats. Another time we went to St. Paul's Cathedral. I'd never stayed at London for months and months on end, however. And as it transpired, London wasn't nearly as exciting as I'd hoped. There were a lot of people, historic buildings, and a huge variety of shops. But when you're a poor university student, you don't have enough time or money to take everything in. Forget it. I'll try to forget it. My mother died last week. Her funeral was yesterday. Why am I still thinking about myself? That's what Cassandra said when she broke up with me. She did it over the phone. She was in tears. I couldn't see her face, but I knew. I could hear it in her voice. She said I was selfish, that I only thought about myself, that even though she tried so hard to comfort me, I wasn't trying at all. I'd never heard her shout before. It wasn't frightening so much as it was confusing. It must have been because Buddy died, a nervous breakdown. It wasn't really my fault. I didn't kill her stupid dog. No matter how I toss and turn, I can't get comfortable. I keep thinking about that strange girl, Lily. She said I had a lot of things to be thankful for. Does she think I'm selfish too? Why do I care so much anyway? Is it because she looks like Imogen Parker? Is that really it? Imogen was my childhood sweetheart. I really, really liked her, and because I liked her, I thought I should tell her. The rest of this memory is painful. I don't like thinking about it. Suffice to say, Imogen didn't reciprocate my feelings. I was left alone, brokenhearted, and feeling slightly betrayed. Is that why I keep thinking about this girl? Because she looks like Imogen? But she isn't Imogen, and she isn't Cassandra either. Lily. She's called Lily. I mutter under my breath as though trying to reassure myself. Maybe I am. I just don't know. Curse. Lily is waiting for me when I return to my old brooding spot the following day. She inclines her head, hair fluttering in the breeze, and greets me. "Hello again," she says. "Ah, hello," I stammer in return. Why did I come back here? What am I doing? Did I really want to see her again so very badly? If so, isn't that kind of pathetic? I must look like such a fool, or worse. "Hey, mister?" "What?" She looks at me for a few moments, unblinking before, "Are you a lonely person?" I start, surprised. This girl is good at surprising me. She must have a talent. "No, I'm not lonely," I say, perhaps a touch too defensively. "What makes you think that?" "Your mother died last week." "Well, I suppose that's true, even if it was rather blunt." "That would make me lonely." "If you're lonely, I understand." "Do you?" She nods. "But I thought you didn't like your parents," I say, though it sounds more like a question than it falls from my lips. I wonder, how was I able to remember that? I dated Cassandra for 5 months, but I was never able to hang on to the small details. Little things about her, bits and pieces she dropped into the conversation, escaped from my mind in moments, just like dead goldfish down a toilet. Her favorite wine, her shoe size, her fondest childhood memory, her mother's maiden name, it all vanished without a trace. "It's not as though I dislike them," says Lily, frowning. "It's hard to like or dislike somebody if they're never there. That's all," she finishes with a small shrug, as though that really is all. As though she doesn't care either way. About her parents, about me, about anything. I sigh and take a seat beside her, the foliage rustling underfoot. "That sounds sad," I say, as though I expect her to care about my opinion. I don't think she does, because she shrugs again. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I don't have much of an opinion on them either way. "So why did you say that you'd be lonely if your parents died?" "I meant it hypothetically. If my mother were as nice as yours." "You really liked my mother?" "She was my favorite teacher. I was sad when she died." "I was sad too." "It'd be strange if you weren't. You are her son." "True. Is this some kind of competition? Is she trying to get one over on me?" "But even so, I already knew," says Lily. "Huh?" I reply intelligently. I seem to say that a lot around this girl. Huh and oh, two fallback phrases. I don't know if I've used those two syllables this much around anybody else before. I try again. What do you mean you already knew? Exactly what I said. You knew she was going to die? Lily nods her head. But how? Her response is maddeningly simple. I just did. But her death came completely out of the blue. It's not like she had cancer. That's a terrible way to go. I know. That's what Grandma Rose had. Lung cancer. How dreadful. Did it last long? Long enough. 6 months. That must have been tough. I'm sure it was. I don't mention that I was only 4 at the time, and I don't really remember the details. What does a little girl like Lily know about cancer anyway? Could it be? I've been to a lot of funerals, she says in a matter-of-fact manner as though preempting my question. The people I know all seem to die at some point or another. It makes me wonder if I'm cursed. Did one of them die of cancer? I've seen a few people die of cancer. It isn't pretty. A few? What does that mean, a few? This teenage girl who knows nothing about politics or government reforms knows an awful lot about death. It's almost alarming. Just because she's in the lowest set of English, it doesn't mean she's stupid. Just because she doesn't keep up to date with the news, it doesn't mean she's ignorant. She sounds wise beyond her years. Maybe that's why she doesn't smile. I didn't smile much when I was her age either. I got tired of all the funerals. I can relate to that, I say. I've been to a lot of funerals in my time too. Grandma Rose, Grandpa Len, Great Aunt Henrietta, who the priest kept calling Harriet, our family friend Ruth, who slipped in the shower on a holiday in Spain, and of course, my mother, Lily's English teacher, Evelyn Crowther. But please call me Eve. Maybe we have more in common than I thought. Funerals are sad things, she says thoughtfully. It would be odd if they were cheerful. That isn't what I mean, says Lily, shaking her head. There are always so many people who attend funerals. Family members, friends, extended family members, friends of the family, work colleagues, people who aren't really friends, but feel they should come along or it'd look rude, but... She sighs. I think it's ruder to go along if you don't really care. If you're not really sad, that's far, far more disrespectful. You think? I say. Yes. Human life is precious. It deserves to be mourned. Everybody means something to someone, no matter what they've done in their lives. No matter what. If you go to a funeral and you don't really care, if you go for the sake of manners and not for your feelings, Lily narrows her eyes. What's the point? You're not respecting that person or their life. Instead, you're turning it into a day out, like a trip to the zoo. People should care. Why don't people care? I start to feel uncomfortable. I shift, but I can't dispel my doubts. At Mom's funeral, Hazel cried. Dad cried. Even Great Aunt Enid cried, dabbing at her eyes with an old handkerchief. But I didn't. I couldn't bring myself to. It all seemed too staged somehow, too fake, too hollow, too empty. The too tight black suit didn't help. Why should I get dressed up to go to a funeral? It's not as though the corpse will care. They're long past caring. But maybe it's about respect. Maybe it's about doing these things regardless because you loved that person. Because you want to make them happy, even if they're not around to appreciate it anymore. Even if it's illogical. Is that really why? I'm 34, but there are a lot of things I don't know about the world. I'm tired of going to funerals. There are always so many funerals, says Lily. Well, that's because there are a lot of people in the world, I tell her. Everyone has to die at some point. I know that, but I don't know why it has to be so sad. Do you often feel sad? Sometimes. I think it's inevitable, given the world we live in. You mean Wales? No, that isn't what I mean. I mean, the whole world. The whole world is always raining. Even when it isn't, it doesn't stop. I can't help but smile at this. It sounds like she's reciting a poem. A bad poem. Is that one of your own? What do you mean? What you just said. Did you make it up yourself? Lily looks at me dubiously. I think she's trying to figure out whether I'm poking fun at her or not. I guess so, she replies after a pause. What about it? Oh, nothing. I was just thinking you're natural. You could be the next William Wordsworth. My compliment falls on deaf ears. Lily looks unhappy. I don't like Wordsworth. You don't? No. I think his poems are self-indulgent and patronizing. I laugh. To tell you the truth, I think that as well. You do? Yeah, I can't stand him. Then we're in agreement, says Lily, a small smile spreading across her face. It's a gentle, genuinely happy smile that can make anybody's heart flutter, even mine. It's getting late, says Lily with a touch of ruefulness to her tone. She's right. The sky is a soft, gentle yellow with light orange peeking out through the clouds. The sun is setting. If I were a photographer, I'd want to take a picture of this moment, preserve it for posterity. It's too bad I don't have a camera. How much time have I spent here, sitting in my old moping spot alongside this girl? How did the time pass by so quickly? I must have been lost in my thoughts. I must have been lost pretty deep within them, traversing a vast subterranean cave of subconsciousness for the time to slip by so quickly without my knowledge. Aren't you going to go home? Lily asks. She's acting as though she's the parent and I'm the child. Make sure you don't stay up too late. It's bad for your skin. Remember to eat your vegetables. Yes, even the broccoli. And don't talk back to me, mister. My mother used to say those kinds of things to me when I was young, but she always accompanied them with a smile. Lily, however, isn't smiling. Shouldn't you be going home first? You're younger than I am, I retort. Does that make a difference? I wouldn't be acting like a responsible adult if I didn't tell you to take care of yourself. Are you a responsible adult? That's a good question. One I don't know the answer to. What does being responsible even entail? It's not as though my parents will mind, says Lily. Nobody cares if I come home late. She sounds melancholy, resigned to her own fate of being ignored and uncared for. I feel like I should comfort her, but I don't know how. I can't even begin to imagine how she feels. I've always had a loving family, a cheerful mother, a slightly overprotective father. I really am lucky, aren't I? She gets to her feet, dusting off her skirt, and turns to face me. So, Mr. Responsible Adult, will I be seeing you again tomorrow? Do you want me to see you again tomorrow? That doesn't matter. This isn't about me. You're lonely and you have nobody else you can talk to. Aren't I right? I let my voice trail off. I don't know what to say. You'll come back. I know you will. That's what lonely people do. You're lonely too? Of course I am. Everybody is. Some people are just better at hiding it than others. Even Wordsworth? Even him. You've never met him. I don't have to. I think you're making some pretty big assumptions there. It's not an assumption. It's fact, like saying the sky is blue. It isn't right now. You know what I mean. You know that I'm right. Is that so? I think, but I don't bother saying it. I think I know what she'll say in response. That is so. What a strange girl. Is she your typical brooding teen, or is there some actual weight to her words? By the way, she says. She looks at me and smiles. I think that smile suits her. If I were a photographer, I would forego the scenery. I'd much rather focus on that smile. Rare as a lunar eclipse, perhaps even more perfect. I like ring donuts a lot. Don't forget, okay? Otherwise I'll be mad at you. I'll make you pay. How? She's only a teenager, and she's a good deal shorter than me. Her threat doesn't hold that much weight. Neither does she. She looks so light, a sudden gust of wind would probably be enough to blow her away. But her small self-confident smile doesn't waver. I have my ways. Just know this. I'll make you sorry, old man. And with that, she turns and skips away. That's right. She actually skips. I'm not making it up. Almost like she's Dorothy going down the yellow brick road. Since when do teenage girls skip? Isn't that a bit juvenile? I guess it's true what they say. Life really is full of surprises. It's only when she's advanced a few feet, the bottom of her body already engulfed by the steep incline of the hill, that I return to my senses. Hey! I'm not old! History. I didn't start working in insurance because I wanted to. I doubt most people start working in insurance because they want to. It was just the first job opportunity that I found, and I took it. Nothing more, nothing less. When I graduated from university with my 2.1 in English, I didn't know what to do. English is, of course, a reasonably useless subject. It's not like medicine or dentistry where you're almost guaranteed a job. What company in the real world is going to hire me because I once wrote a particularly good essay about Freudian symbolism in Hamlet? Not very many, let me tell you. Even so, I didn't want to go back home. After growing accustomed to life in London, as uncomfortably busy and sometimes overwhelming as it could be, I didn't want to return to Wales. Wet, wet Wales, where it always rains. If I couldn't get a job in London, what kind of job would I be able to get back in my small village? It's practically a ghost town here. Worse even. Not even the ghosts remain. This village is so out of the way, there are never enough bored teenagers to spray graffiti on the gravestones or knock them over. Our poor spooks have nothing to do, nobody to haunt. All they can do is rot underneath the earth, forlorn and forget. Going back would be giving up. Going back would be the same as admitting failure. What 21-year-old wants to live with their parents anyway? So I applied for jobs. I applied for several jobs. Within a few weeks, I heard back from an insurance company. They invited me to an interview. I went and I passed and I got the job, working at the phones in an insurance company 9 until 5, Monday to Friday, in a suit and tie, just like a proper adult. It wasn't a great job. I didn't assume I'd be sticking around for too long. I saw it as a stepping stone in my journey, a stopgap, a necessity until I could secure a better, more well-paying position. A job where people didn't complain at me incessantly over the phone, saying I was the worst and Hitler because there were no claims, discounts was now void, would have been nice. A job where my workmates didn't keep making disparaging remarks about Welsh people and sheep would also have been appreciated, but I knew not to get my hopes up. No matter where you go, people act like arses. That's one thing that never changes. And yet, though I told myself my job was a temporary thing, hardly something I could commit to for my whole life, before I knew it, more than 10 years had gone by and nothing had changed. I still work in the same office with mostly the same people doing the same hours for the same pay, and I still haven't stopped making jokes about sheep. You'd think they'd get tired of that eventually. Evidently not. People are oddly tenacious about the stupidest of things. I still haven't managed to take the next steps. My progress in the journey of life has been put on an indefinite hiatus. This roadblock is far too large for me to shift. You'd think it would be easy to find a job in London, given how big it is, but after the recent economic downturn, I don't fancy my chances. I don't want to quit my job, no matter how draining, without the security of a new job offer to support me, and I haven't been able to find a new job. Maybe I haven't been looking hard enough. So that's that. I'm stuck. Stuck in the same place I've been for the last 13 years. Going nowhere, doing nothing, floundering. Sometimes I have to wonder what the point is, or we're all going to die anyway. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, take care, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.